Whatever that mean. Dirty soda in the styrofoam. Spend a day to get my mind blown. Dress it up and go to Nassau. 200 miles on the dash. Gotta roll a pound up a gas. Switching lanes in the Grand Rapids. We the one that kept it cool without it. Till you start acting. Shootin' like a film in a movie. Gonna let them have it. We ballin' like the March Madness. All these cops shootin' tragic. I'm the one that live in lavish. Like I'm playing for the Mavericks. I don't want to they might have made me fool her even though she average. Dirty money in the cook. The 45 by my good. Black, I'm young in the cook. So take you out for some joints. Count this money, no rush. I'm on the one-way flush. Loud pack smelling mud.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of The Council. That's what we're calling it. I'm Christian Prosher. I'm joined here with Isaac Bourne, who is currently muted. We have Robbie coming in a few minutes. You are muted, my friend.
I guess that's what we're calling it. That's what I was saying.
I was about to say, nobody texted me back, so I had to roll with something off the dome, and screw it, we're going with it. Robbie's sitting in the middle of a Rick Pitino press conference right now. His first Pitino press conference of his career. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute banger. It's definitely one of those moments as a media member that you – like that's one of those guys where you get to interview, and it's a lot of fun. Everybody knows the history of Rick Pitino's coaching career, so we're going to hear what that's like from Robbie in the next couple minutes. But Isaac, you were live on the scene from Lexington, Kentucky. Can we talk about 4 games of coverage? It's been a very long day for you, my friend. Unfortunately, no mid-majors are moving on from your area. Like from your bracket, nobody's moving on to Saturday on the mid-major side. Can we talk about those games? What was reflecting unbiasedly, being able to go out and cover some games in March? Let's talk about your day of coverage.
I think I'm gonna be honest. It peaked at the beginning. Creighton and Louisville was a really fun game. I mean, you come at the start of the game. I mean, it's a home game for the Cardinals, and they walk in and. I mean, you walk into the arena and it's almost packed out. I mean, obviously it's not a Kentucky crowd here at Rupp, but it's as close as it can get. Just red everywhere. And it's Creighton versus Louisville. The Cardinals start out fast, but then, I mean, I'm looking at the stat sheet now. It was pretty much all Jamia Neal for the Blue Jays, and Creighton was able to just dominate in that second half and that first half as well. And I mean, it landed a Evan Mia kill shot in the first half, and that's really what propelled them to that win. Jamia Neal and Stephen Ashworth combining for 51 on the day. So, I mean, that was a really fun game. Obviously, no mid-majors, but I was able to catch up with assistant coach Ryan Miller for the Blue Jays, but soon to be head coach of Murray State University. Was able to talk with him a little bit. So that was probably the highlight of my morning. And then, let me see. I'm holding up the stat sheets.
Yeah, while you're getting your notes together, I do just want to give a big shout out. First off, to every person that is joining in and watching this stream. It is 12:30 in the morning Eastern. Wherever you guys may be based out of, I know it's late at night. We appreciate you guys capping off your night with some expert analysis from Robbie and Isaac, and then my stupid commentary every now and again. But I mean, look at this.
Hey, Christian is the comic relief. We always need one of those guys. And he knows a little bit about sports.
I do all right for myself, but what I was going to say is, look at this man right here, Isaac Bourne. Look at that suit. Look at that tie. Look at the comb over. If you don't trust a thing he says, you are a crazy person. That is the look. That is a future president right there. Like, honestly, you're giving me some Barron Trump vibes right now. But
Christian, you always know how to hype me up, man. Especially after a long day where you don't see any mid majors win. You know, I feeling really good. Thanks for that, Christian.
You're welcome. I like the little neon green tie. I think it looks neon on my screen. I think it's a nice little flash of color.
It's like mint. It's mint over here. I'd say.
About to say, I like it. It's given York peppermint patty. Also, we are just stalling for time until Robbie gets out of this damn press.
Well, we'll talk about what's went on in Lexington today, and then we'll swing it over to Robbie when he gets here, and he'll talk about what happened in Providence. But I mean, we can go on to the second game of the day and talk about Alabama State Auburn. I mean, it's a 16 versus 1 matchup. I think pretty much everyone going into this one knew how it was going to go, but I don't think they expected how it was going to happen. Alabama State really gave Auburn a run for their money in that first half, actually bringing it to within 4 towards the end of it. Obviously, actually within 1, excuse me. And then Auburn just had a very, very quick, in the last minute and a half, a nice 9-0 run to finish off. And that's pretty much was what took down the Hornets of Alabama State. They have ended up losing by 20, 83-63. Got to give a big shout out to the SWAC. Auburn almost getting a taste of some SWACtion today, but unfortunately, just how my luck goes in first round games. No upsets, nothing exciting, just things going exactly how we expect them to.
And then with that game, I saw bits and pieces of it because it was when I was driving. I was driving home and I was listening to it. I'm not going to confirm or deny that I was watching the game while driving because there might be some undercover feds. So no, I was not watching March Madness while driving down the highway. But with that being said, something that I definitely noticed is Auburn, like you said, started out really slow. Alabama State, they were hanging in a lot more than a lot of people thought they would. Ultimately, what did it come down to? What was that separating factor outside of outside of Auburn waking up and being like, guys, we're the number one team in the country for a reason? Was it just out depth? Was it out athlete? Did all of the good players from Alabama State get tired? Like, what was the ultimate deciding factor that kind of really started to tip things in that second half?
I really think it is just a situation of Alabama State. They play a type of defense that in the SEC you really can't play, which is Alabama State's 1-3-1 was really giving Auburn problems to start out. You look at most of the SEC, you can't play a 1-3-1 because it's such a high energy defense, and a lot of the times in the best conference in the country, which is the SEC, you can't do that because you've got players too quick. They'll dribble right around the traps in the corners, and it usually has to just be man. Sometimes a couple different zones, but 1-3-1 is usually off the table for these higher conferences. But in effect of that, you saw Auburn face a defense like Alabama State's where, in the SWAC, a 1-3-1 is very, very useful. And so Alabama State played this type of defense on Auburn, and they were able to really give Auburn a scare in that first half because of just the high energy. They were scrappy. They were able to dive on the floor and get loose balls, force turnovers. But, in the second half, just petering out and really not giving themselves any momentum. And that's really what you see from these top teams. They've got more stamina, but also, when your tallest guy is 6'8" like Alabama State, and Auburn's got 2 guys on the starting lineup taller and bigger than that, it's just, it is just a case of what's more dangerous, a sword or a rock? You're going to get hurt more by a sword because Auburn is just so.
Sorry for never heard that.
That's how it goes.
That phrase before.
Oh yeah, I know. I just created that off the top of my head. It's just kind of how it's pretty late here in Lexington. Not really thinking straight.
And then I want to circle back a little bit to the Louisville Creighton game. First off, that's a game that when we spoke about on my show, the New Era Prep show, streamed on New Era Prep's Twitter. Go watch it, guys. Set a little plug right there for all of your viewers to go follow me. But when we were talking on Sunday about what was some of the matchups, immediately the first game that we talked about was Louisville Creighton. For obvious reasons, I think those were both teams where this is an 8-9 game. Like when you look at the resumes that both teams had, they should have been higher seeds. They were 2 very underseeded teams, especially Creighton. From the get-go, Creighton, honestly, they punched Louisville in the mouth, and then they just never gave up. All of a sudden, you blink and you miss it, and Creighton's taking a 15-point lead. It was beautiful. It was spectacular. Pat Kelsey crashing out on the sidelines was the greatest thing of today. I don't care what anybody says. If every Pat Kelsey hater is not here, that means I am dead. I hate Pat Kelsey. We all know this.
And it was really, it was just really weird to see that because you see Kelsey, such usually a level-headed guy, and Louisville, you saw a Louisville fan throw a water bottle onto the floor as well during the game. It's the first time I've ever seen that at a game I've been in attendance for.
I was about to say, I'm surprised it was a beverage that was water.
I mean, it was early in the day. Maybe if the game was later in the day, you might have seen something different.
But anyway, you were saying.
I really think that it just came down to, you look at the stats, Creighton just played out of their minds. Every single time that Louisville would start to go on a run, Stephen Ashworth would make an incredible three, shut down any type of run that Louisville had. And it really just came down to Louisville would go on a 5-point run and Creighton would fight right back. Creighton never let the environment get a hold of them. They never let any type of momentum get a hold of them. And it really just goes down to just incredible coaching. I think Greg McDermott has done an incredible job with the Blue Jays and really just making sure that these players do not have to deal with any of the mental sides of the game, and just they went out there and played like it was a practice because they acted like there was no one in the stands cheering against them.
And now, does Creighton face off against Auburn on Saturday?
And that'll set up for an interesting matchup. I really like the matchup between Kalkbrenner and Janai Broome. I feel like those are two of the best players in the nation. And Kalkbrenner a little slow today. He still had 14 points, but only took 8 shots. He was really good at getting his teammates the ball. And I'm excited to see how he goes up against a defense such as Auburn's. I think Janai Broome is one of the best players. I think he is the best player in the nation, but then also Dylan Cardwell is an incredible guy in the middle for Auburn as well. So it'll be a coach's battle for sure, especially Bruce Pearl and Greg McDermott being two of the best coaches in the nation.
Realistically speaking, obviously we know that Auburn is it's a tough team to play against. Like, no matter if it's home, away, neutral court, Auburn is a hard team to play against. What could possibly tip in the scales of Creighton to where we see any possible bracket that is still decently set just get absolutely thrown into a paper shredder? How can Creighton come out here and go to beautiful Lexington, there we go, Kentucky, and survive and advance now to the Sweet 16 following an upset to the number 1 team in the country?
I think it's a lot more feasible than people think it is. If you look at the performances based off today, Creighton played incredible. They played one of their best games of the season, and Auburn did not. And you saw that where Auburn let a team from one of the worst conferences in the nation play up with them for most of the time. So I think if you look at it, it's a lot less unbalanced than you think it's going to be. Creighton has some incredible shooters, and Auburn, they can go cold at sometimes. So I wouldn't consider the Tigers impenetrable, especially after what we saw from them today. I obviously think that Bruce Pearl will have them ready for this game on Saturday. So there's no way that I would ever consider this game anything other than a classic, or it's going to be competitive, as we see my man Robbie LaStella tuning in from up in the old Rhode Island. But we're finishing up talking about Creighton, Louisville, or Creighton and Auburn right now, Robbie. But we'll get to you in just a second. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty close. I think it'll be a good game, and I really like the matchups just in about every position.
And then now taking things to the other 2 games that you personally covered today. What was the next one on the docket for you? We're gonna add Rob in. Hi, Robbie. How you doing? How's Providence?
It's good. We're hanging out here. I don't have my AirPods, so I'm trying to be in a disclosed area over here where there's not a ton of people.
I can't wait.
Hey, you're missing these from the other day. Hey, this is what kept us alive on the pod the other day.
I know.
Yes, it was, and thank you for not stealing his computer. You want to hold these, little bro?
I know. I got them too, but they're dead. But
man, Robbie, I feel like Robbie's AirPods are always dead right when he needs them on the podcast.
Yes, it's because he was listening to all of the McNeese State.
Right song. I was banging it.
Yeah,
so yeah, you just finished up Rick Pitino's presser and Chris Crutchfield, Omaha and St. John's. Wasn't really too close there in the second half, but Omaha, tough battle for them, but I think they got a good coach, good foundation.
And then
Yeah, Robbie, I'm jealous of what you got today. And Providence got themselves a good day of basketball.
They did. I mean, we got we got the biggest upset of them all. Unless I'm missing something, I've been pretty locked into what's going on over here. But we got the coaching battle of Bill Self and Cal that went down to the wire. Purdue and High Point was a good game for most of that. And the first half of this one, I mean, I thought Omaha was brewing for a 15-2 upset for a little bit there, but they didn't have the physicality in the second half, and they're going home. But St. John's is got a battle with Cal on Sunday.
and
I would also real quick, Robbie, we still have UNCW versus Texas Tech going on right now. We didn't want you guys to have to stay up super late to see that one. Texas Tech up only by 5 with 4 minutes to go. So that's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to keep it's actually going to be going on right behind me. So anyone who wants to, mooch off of my feed, it's literally right there. So
right now I'm watching an Outback Steakhouse ad over your shoulder. But actually, Isaac, where are you? Yes, point to it. 30 feet away from you. Where are you checking in from right now? Are you in a closet right now?
Oh no, this is the media room. I don't know why they have hangers here, but yeah, we're in the back of the media room.
You can put your blazer on the thing if you get too warm.
I might do that.
What is going on with this stream today, guys?
I don't know.
Did you just throw your suit jacket in the middle of a working media room?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, there's no one in Lexington. All the media is here in Providence.
No, everybody's in Raleigh. Everybody's in Raleigh. I couldn't even make it.
Everyone's in Providence, buddy.
Get ready.
Well, I feel like also you also have to look at that Drake Mizzou game too. That's another interesting one to look at as well.
Yeah,
we'll get into that one later.
Yeah,
I think we need. Let's go ahead and finish up. Let's go ahead and finish up here in Lexington. Wofford and Tennessee took on each other today. I really liked what I saw out of the Terriers today, but
Christensen
obviously
was the worst
Tennessee
game he's ever watched.
It was spelt ass. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I would say this: Tennessee jumped out really quickly. They played really well in that first half. Wofford they battled with them the whole game. I really have to give them credit. Losing by only 15 in a game where Tennessee could not miss a shot, especially when you look at a guy like Chaz Lanier. He had 29 in this game. Wofford was able to stay up with them for most of the time, just unable to cut into that lead towards the end. They shortened it to 8 with about 13 minutes to go, but that's about as short as it got, as Tennessee was just able to pull away. You got to give credit to Lanier, and then Zakai Ziegler with a double-double. He had himself 12 points and 12 assists on the night, so good for him.
Listen, I mean, Tennessee can do that against Wofford, and that's fine, but we all know once they get to the Elite Eight, at best, it's over. I mean, Rick Barnes is pushing 80 years old at this point, and he's never made a Final Four. I mean,
I think that could be the case. We'll see, though. I do like their position in this bracket. The team to really go up against for them is going to be Kentucky, but we'll have to see if the Cats can take down Troy tomorrow night first, and then also they have UCLA tomorrow night. I mean, speaking of UCLA, or not tomorrow night, Saturday, but speaking of UCLA, I mean, it was. If you're talking about, putting a belt on, I think UCLA really showed that tonight. Utah State could not hit the broadside of a barn.
I don't know. Does that cost Gerard Calhoun, West Virginia?
I still don't think so. I think it just comes down to Mountain West just being unable to perform well in March. You saw Utah State do just about the same thing last year in March. So I don't know. As a mid-major guy, I didn't really have a great time today. Not many mid-major teams doing very well. Utah State really broke my heart today. Don't know how I'm going to recover, but we'll see.
Can we talk about the absolute master ass coming out of the Mountain West Conference today? Dude, why is the Mountain West consistently – sorry, I'm trying to be quiet. I'm home, unfortunately. I didn't get invited to the field trip, everybody. But with that being said, why is the Mountain West – consistently a multi-bid league just for them to win, just for them to get clapped by 20 plus in dang near the first 2 rounds.
It's like the AAC as well. I mean, when was the last? I mean, outside. I mean, I mean, thinking about it, unless Memphis goes on a run, when was the last time? Houston when they were in the AAC? Like, I mean, it's just like when you're not playing that same level of competition like consistently, and you go up against a team that is, it's tough. And I mean, that's why I'm looking at my bracket and I'm like, why did I pick New Mexico? I think New Mexico is different. I think Richard Pitino and that squad is actually pretty legit, but who knows? You know, maybe they get Shaka Bald and I look like a dummy. Who knows? But I don't think the Mountain West has enough night in, night out competition, especially like if the top half of the league, which includes top three teams, includes Utah State, and they are struggling as much as they did tonight against UCLA. I just don't think that's a good look. But UCLA is a good team. They've had some good wins this year. I think Mick Cronin's press conference debacle shenanigans has kind of left them in a precarious situation in the media, but they're a pretty good team.
Isaac, was that everything coming out of your region, or is there anything else you really wanted to talk about really quick?
No, that's everything coming out of my region. My heart was broken multiple times today, and on Saturday we'll see no mid-majors in Lexington, and well, I'm sad.
If you want,
High major madness.
I will listen. I will fly out to Lexington on Saturday. I can cover the games as you. If you really are that heartbroken where you don't feel in the right state of mind to cover the games, I'll sit press row. I will not be wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah,
Christian, that's a really, I know how hard how much of a sacrifice that would be for you, but
it is a financial.
It's okay. I think I got that. I think I got it. But thanks for the offer.
You're welcome, buddy. You know I got you. But
yeah.
Robbie, coming out of Providence, 4 banger games where you're coming away and
3.5.
What?
3.5 banger games.
4 banger games. You got to watch a Rick Pitino masterclass up close and personal.
Yeah.
Like you're coming away all smiles. Unfortunately, Isaac, who's normally all happy smiles, is kind of frowning a little today.
Listen,
dude, he just
if
looks
you lock me in a building for 12 hours, I don't care what I'm watching. I will be happy. I went to the AAC tournament and watched the second round, every game of the second round of the AAC tournament. I don't care what I'm watching. But I mean, it did help that there's some pretty good hoops going on tonight. I picked Arkansas a week ago. I mean, the way they finished their season, the way compared to Kansas kind of limped to the finish line, where Arkansas, they needed to win. I think it was like 3 of their final 4 to even get an at-large bid. And so they had to do that to get in. And yeah, they lost in the SEC tournament, but they finished strong. And I knew coming into this game that they weren't just going to lie down. If they lost, it was going to be close. And it got sketchy there at the end, but I mean, they've got guys. They've got experienced guys. I mean, you look at John L. Davis. I mean, yeah, he had a blunder last year against Northwestern, but he played really well in the Final Four run. He played well in that game against Northwestern last year up until the end of it. And he, down the stretch here, he hits the big triple, and then he hits, the part that's going to get left out is he hits 4 consecutive free throws to keep them ahead 2 possessions down the stretch. That's something Nelly's always been good at, is free throws, and here it was no different. And so credit to Arkansas. They're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Boogie Flan didn't have a big offensive night, but he made a play for them. I think probably about 2-ish minutes to go, and he stole it and went coast to coast, and that kind of really lit the Arkansas run a little bit. And if they can get Boogie going the way that Nelly was performing tonight, I mean, I like Arkansas to get to the Sweet 16. It's going to be a tough battle with St. John's, but if they have the offense, if they can figure out a way to crack St. John's defense, I mean, who knows?
And then, could we talk about that Arkansas team? And especially the last couple minutes, really pulling a comeback. I want to talk about them, but it's going to sound so bad. We need to talk about Hunter Dickinson at the end of that game.
He got stripped. That was the Boogie Flag.
Yes.
I just recapped the end of the game.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No, I know, but can we break down him, because literally the last 2 minutes of the game, bro was a walking duck on the court. He
Yeah.
was ready to start cashing in his future career at Walmart. Like, what was bro doing?
Well, that was a rough one for Kansas all around. I really think it's looking. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but the way that Bill Self mentioned Achilles, it sounds like KJ Adams did indeed tear his Achilles. And so when that happened in the game, from what Bill Self said after the game, it kind of sounded like they were really affected by that. Even after the game, to the point when I asked if there was, what was the message after the game, he said there was no message. He said the guys were down because of KJ's injury, something along those lines. There was no message. And so I really think this is a pivotal point in Kansas basketball. You've had now 2 down years. I mean, last year was supposed to be the worst year ever for Kansas basketball, and it somehow got worse. They have their worst season their early. It's tough to say, right? They still made the NCAA tournament. They had some huge wins in the regular season, but a first-round exit is their worst season since 2006. Do you know how nuts that is? So, I mean, Bill Self kind of mentioned that in the post game a little bit. He was kind of hinting at the fact, like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how we can get better. But at the same time, I mean, there's ebbs and flows in life. And if you're at the top of the top for so long, eventually it's going to come down a little bit. Now, the key for Bill is not to let it come crashing down. Got to get Kansas back up next year, and we'll see what they do.
And I think the question here about that is, you've got Kansas is such a great program because of Self. But he's getting to that point later in his career where, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say he wants to retire at this point, but he's getting to the point in his career where if he doesn't see success soon, he might have to retire on a bad note. And obviously, you don't want to see that from an all-time great coach. But Kansas, especially with with the new rules, obviously we talk about it all the time, NIL and transfer portal really evening things out for these top teams in the nation. I don't know where Kansas goes from here that makes them better or as good as they were back when they won that national championship.
And then also to piggyback off of that, you see all these older all-time greats. It doesn't matter what sport it is. You look down the line, Saban, Kansas, Larinaga, all of these all-time great coaches, they haven't been able to adapt to the transfer portal and the NIL era of college sports.
That's not an issue for Bill Self. I mean, look at his roster this year. AJ Storr, Hunter Dickinson. I mean, those guys are like super grandpa seniors.
You want to know what else they are? They're headed to Cancun.
I mean, well, that's the issue. He's not having a problem finding talented players. It's finding a way to get them to mesh. And I mean, you look at some of these teams with hired guns. UConn doesn't do it, and I mean that like they look at them now this year without them doing it, and so it's like you kind of have to do it, but there needs to be a balance. He needs to develop some freshmen, and I like the way that Auburn does it. They have a good mix of some veteran guards, some super veteran guards, and we'll talk old Baker Mazzara, but you got to have a balance. And right now, Kansas doesn't have a balance. It's just hired guns at this point. I mean, even like everyone they had. Zeke Mayo, he played 3 years at San Diego State before he came there. I think Adams is a full-time Kansas guy, but other than that, I don't know.
And Kansas is just you're kind of starting to see this with the transfer portal now, where it was a problem in the NBA. I mean, obviously you had that Warriors team back a while ago with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and even DeMarcus Cousins back when we thought he was going to be good. But now you're seeing that start to transition over to college basketball with the transfer portal being a big thing. And now it's actually a problem trying to get teams to mesh. I think in college basketball in the past, getting teams to mesh wasn't always as much about, I've got this amount, I've only got 1 year to get this team to mesh before they're probably off somewhere else. Usually it's been we can cultivate talent from freshman year through senior year, or we can at least cultivate them for a couple of years. Or if we're going to have a freshman go to the draft, we can have this guy be the centerpiece, and then everyone else can cultivate around him. But now you've got a team like Kansas where it's all centerpieces. AJ Storr was the centerpiece of Wisconsin last year. KJ Adams has been the centerpiece of Kansas before, and then Hunter Dickinson was the centerpiece of Michigan before he came to Kansas. So you've got so many people that want. I mean, you call it hero ball. You've got so many players that want to have that final shot, that want to be the best player on the team, and now you've got a unique problem that you only see in professional sports, which is managing egos and managing who's going to get the ball at those important moments and who's going to get the most shots. And it's just difficult. And I think Self is finding himself in a problem that he's never had to deal with before.
And then Robbie, I don't want to talk about Kansas hoops anymore. I'm gonna be honest. I've never been a big Kansas hoops fan, but you want to know who I'm a big bandwagon? Let's talk about those McNeese State Cowboys, baby.
By the way, I will say Amir Khan does follow me on Twitter. Shout out to him. Thank you for giving me the follow back when I followed.
I feel bad. I feel bad for this man. I'm sure he's enjoying it, but every single media person was like hounding this man, and I'm like, dude, like he has a job. At the end of the day, like if he's a manager and like he doesn't do something, like he's like they will fire. Like the managers, like it doesn't matter. I don't know. I feel bad. Like he's probably trying to balance like doing laundry and helping the guys with whatever they need. And meanwhile, he's got Rhode Island Fox affiliate shoving a microphone in his face. But hey, you know what? That's fame for you. And good for him for getting some NIL deals out of it.
I was about to say,
what's funny is I was standing there and he was like over there, and I didn't even realize it was him until like all of a sudden this just like horde of people is just like over there, and I'm like, oh, got it, missed out. But no,
are you gonna?
No,
come on,
and I think
that is the internet's glorious king right there.
And you've got to feel bad for guys like Christian Shoemate and Brandon Murray, guys that played their all today and played really well. And then in that post-game press conference, who do they want to ask about? They want to ask about Amir Khan. And as much as there was no Amir Khan question. At the end of the day, Amir Khan is the story behind this McNeese team. Excuse me, is the story behind this.
He's hitting the portal for managers now.
But anyway, he's the story behind this McNeese team, and I feel like it is taking away from the incredible games we saw from Murray and from Christian Shoemate, a guy that has been with Coach Will Wade for the past 2 years now.
The thing with McNeese is I saw them come out the gates today. Like they just controlled the tempo. There was a brief time they fell behind early on, I think with like 15 minutes to play, and then they never trailed again. I mean, it was just I don't know where Clemson goes from here because like they out-physicaled them, they outshot them, they out-assisted them. Like they did everything that that you need to do to win. They did all of it like times 100, and they have the way that team is operating right now. It's like a business. It's like it's exactly like a business. The players don't care that Will Wade is on to pursue better things. Will Wade doesn't care that the players want money and want to go in the portal. It's what you need, especially at a mid-major level, if you're going to be successful today. I mean, you got to be about your business. If guys want to leave for more NIL, you can't, pout about it. You got to go and find another guy. And so I think Will Wade is going to be, I mean, I don't want to put the horse before the cart, but I think he'll be successful at NC
And by the
State.
way, we have a final score. UNC Wilmington falls to Texas Tech 82-72. And so the upset bid that we thought we were going to have did not happen. So unfortunately, today just gets more boring.
So it looks like the only upset comes to
Amir
the
Khan.
Providence Regional, the
No,
best
and
one of
Drake.
them all.
And you got to give Drake and
yeah,
Mizzou. If we want to go to if we want to
That's
move
my
to that
mind.
one, we can
Yes,
kind of
let's talk about
let's go ahead and touch on a couple other games today. We'll go to Drake and Mizzou. I was able to keep up with this one a little bit. Bennett Sturts, 18 points in the first half, only scored 3 in the second, but they didn't need that from him, and just an incredible game. I was able to check in on it a couple times while watching today, and I mean, Bennett Sturts is the driver of this Drake team, and they are going to go as far as he goes. He scored 21 today, had 4 assists in a low scoring game. They really did just put Mizzou in a torture chamber, just a Tiger team that scores really well, unable to score.
And wasn't just Mizzou that was in a torture chamber. The entire second half, I was flipping between the Arkansas game, Arkansas-Kansas, and Drake-Mizzou. And just as the moments were clicking by, I just realized that my bracket was getting more and more shot by the second.
I mean, my bracket's high. I think I'm doing good.
I was doing great up until halftime of those games. Literally, I had a 98%. I was sitting pretty.
I'm 92.4 right now. It's not great, but I mean, the only ones I missed was I had Louisville. Never betting on that guy with
Louisville. He said Louisville. Isaac, he said Louisville.
Those goofy goggle glasses.
I've taken too many losses today. That's not a lot. It's fine.
I picked Yale. Never betting with the nerds again. I'm sorry. That was all. Sam Fetterman got into my head. I'm never. That'd be no more nerd ball. What else? What else did I pick? I've got New Mexico tomorrow. I'm screwed.
You can still change it, can't you? Like if a game.
No, you can't. You can't change them.
Hasn't played.
They're locked.
I had Drake. I did have Drake. I had Texas Tech. I had Arkansas. I had St. John's.
Guys, you're gonna hear a big L from me. I had Kansas going to my Sweet 16,
Ooh.
and then I had Utah State going to the Sweet 16. So
Yeah,
my
that's
bracket is cooked, boys.
Oh yeah, no, that is
Drew,
seared and fried.
You want to fix it? I mean, I can't.
That to say,
Going into the
Robbie has a
light.
majestic little halo behind him right now. Yeah, and my bracket. My bracket.
This is a live picture of Kansas basketball right now, going into the light.
That's crazy.
Oh goodness gracious!
My bracket isn't done terribly. I had Kansas moving on to next round, losing to the Johnnies, and then I had Mizzou moving on to the next round, losing to Tech. So, and then I had
a lot solid right now.
Except
I have New Mexico in
the
the Sweet
Sweet
16.
16.
That's not good.
I think
yeah.
New Mexico has that behind them. We already talked about that, but I do feel like they have the skill and talent to go pretty far, despite being a Mountain West team, because they've beaten teams earlier this year. You talked about they beat UCLA earlier this year on a neutral court, so I do feel like they're a little bit different than your average Mountain West team. But then again, we'll see. I mean, we've kind of seen a lot of disappointment from the Mountain West so far, but I do feel like the 2 teams tomorrow from the Mountain West that are competing are the 2 better ones. I think Colorado State is just on an incredible run, and I think that as much as I want to see Memphis get the win, it's going to be a close and fun one. And if you want to do that, let's go ahead and preview tomorrow's games. I think we kind of talked about the highlights of today. I mean, obviously, if we want to go into
should we talk a little bit about Michigan? Because that game.
Oh,
I didn't watch
I
any. I can't speak to the game that wasn't on it in this building.
Fine.
Okay.
We'll talk a little bit about Michigan. I don't want to, but
All right.
a
You
foul
want me to
fest.
comment it?
I watched most of it too.
Okay.
After the Utah State game, it was a foul fest in Denver.
Yeah.
Tyler McGuy for UC San Diego gave it all he had, but you got to give credit to Dusty May and the Wolverines. They really did good teams find a way to win, and as much as it was not as ugly as it was, Michigan's moving on.
And that's the thing. Vlad with 14, 14 and 7 he was in foul trouble all game. He had 3 really early fouls. Like he was biting his nails the whole game. Trey Donaldson with another 12. Biggest thing for Michigan, where I am nervous for Michigan going into the next round, is the 3-ball looked terrible. They shot 9 of 27, so 33% shooting from deep, and then they had 14 turnovers, like 10 of which were first half. 10 turnovers, offensive turnovers in the first half is disgusting basketball. It was a terrible first half to watch. I'm going to be honest, like it was a ugly game. A lot of people are going to bring up the fact that Vlad likes to foul bait his way to the line. He definitely displayed that once again on national television. Robbie's taking a lap. I don't know where he's going. He's on his way to Galveston or something. Um, Robbie's side questing right now. But yeah, it was just an ugly game. It was very clear that UC San Diego did not want Danny Wolf to get going, especially after that opening three ball that he had to open the game. From there, they basically were on his neck the whole game. Danny Wolf could not get going.
Well, rightfully so. He should have been the target on defense for UC San Diego because you look at the game plan and they've really got the ability to guard most of the players on Michigan. I feel like Vlad Golden, a lot of the times you can find a way to guard against him because of he's not as strong as many of the other bigger big men in this country. So if you're able to just play off him and don't foul, he's an easier guard. But Danny Wolf is an interesting matchup because he stands 7 feet tall, but he can play on the outside, he can drive it inside, he can shoot well. So rightfully. You good over there? You good over there, Robbie?
Yeah, somebody I guess they opened the gates and somebody drove their truck in here and it just drove by. I swear.
Robbie's getting brought to Area 51 as we speak.
But speaking on that, gentlemen, if we're not, I got some stories to write. I got to get home. So best of luck recapping the rest of these games.
All right, we'll see you later, Robbie.
Catch you later,
Thanks for joining us. And I guess this is just
him out of
2/3 of the council to finish off. But Christian, finishing up that Michigan game, I think UC San Diego gave it all they had. They really did battle back in that second half after a pretty bad first half. But you can't really get all the way when Aniwana Tate Jones was fouled out so early with only 7 points. When you have your leading scorer done like that, it's just difficult to battle.
Yeah, and I definitely think that was an issue for what game was it? It was the McNeese Clemson game. Clemson's big fouled out midway through the second half, so that was something that McNeese immediately started attacking. They started driving inside, and like you said, 2 incredible performances by McNeese that are going under the radar because people like to talk about the manager. With that being said, like obviously one guy hits 1,000 career points, the other guy hits a double on the day. Like you're right, we need to talk about that. So I definitely wanted to circle back and give a shout out to the guys out at McNeese. Who do they get? They got Purdue.
And I feel like that'll be an interesting matchup as well. I think McNeese can very well take down this Purdue team, but it all comes down to shutting down their top 2 scorers, and I think they can. McNeese has shown they've got the size to do it. They've definitely got the athleticism to do it. McNeese plays like your average Power 5 team just because of their ability to get up and score. Christian Shoemate might be 6'7", but that dude plays like he's 6'10", based on his ability to dunk.
He was jumping out of the damn gym. Like he was touching, like his head could have touched the middle of the backboard, just grabbing rebounds. That was something I noticed where I was like, oh, dang, this kid is athletic. I don't know how many years of eligibility that kid has left, but he will not be at McNeese State like next year. I guarantee he's done.
He has none years, unfortunately.
Okay. So anyway, he won't be at McNeese State anyway. But so we spoke a little bit about Auburn, Creighton, and what's needed for that game. We just talked a little bit about McNeese, Purdue. Texas A&M, Michigan, I think is kind of a clear cut of what Michigan needs to do. Improve the 3 ball and don't play so loose, and don't play down to your competition, because that was Michigan was toying with them the entire game.
Well, I think it'll be different in this situation because they will not be playing down to Texas A&M because Texas A&M is a better team in almost every single regard. Texas A&M has one of the best backcourt duos in the nation in Zurich Phelps and Wade Taylor IV. So Michigan's going to have their hands full, and I really think that Texas A&M takes this one. But we could talk about that at some other point. We need to talk about tomorrow's slate of games, because if we thought today was interesting, I think tomorrow is really what's going to hit hard and be the interesting ones. We start off the day with a good slate of three games to start. We got Baylor, Mississippi State starting at 12:15, Robert Morris, Alabama at 12:40, and Lipscomb, Iowa State at 1:30. So for those first three games, you've got Baylor versus Mississippi State. I really like those teams. I really like this matchup. We've got Robert Morris, Alabama. I'm sorry, Robert Morris. I think Bobby Morris is a great team, but Alabama's the best offense in the nation.
I was about to say, we all saw the Cole Adams tweets where it was like the Patrick the Star getting absolutely eliminated. Yeah, that's going to be Robert Morris tomorrow. They are cooked.
And then Lipscomb, Iowa State is my favorite of the biggest upset picks, because you look at Iowa State, they're missing their top scorer. He's out for the season. And then you bring in a Lipscomb team with a guy like Jacob Ognosevich, he's top 5 in Division I in points per game. This guy can score everywhere around the court. And you look at the metrics for Lipscomb. KenPom loves them. Torvik loves them. Their net ranking is incredible. This Bison team thoroughly underseeded at a 14, and I really think that you put them up against an Iowa State team that is playing the worst basketball that they've played all season. And this one is a even matchup in Milwaukee.
I was about to say, I have Lipscomb on my bracket. That's my biggest upset of the tournament. And I do have a question. So far, reflecting on 2-3 really good days of basketball that we've watched, whether it's the first 4 games or today. So far, what has been your favorite individual? Who has been the best individual performance so far? Was it the RJ Davis game the other day where he dropped 6 for 6 from 3? Was it Chaz Lanier today? Like, what has been your this is right now the March MVP so far?
I'm a mid-major guy, and so I really want to say a guy like Bennett Sturts, because Drake played so well today. But I have to give my flowers to Chaz Lanier today. No, sorry. No, it's not Chaz Lanier, excuse me. We're gonna go back to right here. And I'm gonna talk to you about the name of Jemiah Neal from Creighton. He had 29 points today. This dude could not miss. He was 11 for 16 from the field. Every time he went up for a shot, it was going in. He had himself a double-double with 12 rebounds to go along with it. A guy that you don't expect on Creighton to go off and give you a good game. He had 29 in a game where he should have taken more shots. Everything was going through the net for him today. And instead of just taking every shot, he let teammates like Stephen Ashworth also score. And so, man, this Creighton team looks really good because of just all their players coming out at the right time. And I think Jemiah Neal is probably my favorite performance of the week so far.
And so then with his incredible performance, double-double, 29-point day, offensively, is your game plan, if you're Creighton, to get him going? Like, you want him to kind of take a couple early heat checks, see how the 3 ball's feeling, try to test that Auburn defense? Because, like we said, that game is going to be a shootout. That is going to be an incredible game.
I think you test the waters with him because he's a great player and he got really hot today. But Creighton needs to run through Ryan Kalkbrenner. I adamantly believe that still. I mean, he's one of the best bigs in the country, and he's shown that game after game. Incredible interior defender. He can step out and shoot the 3. He's over 7 feet tall, and he's been playing for almost, I think it's 6 years in college now. This guy's seen everything. He knows everything. I mean, obviously, he doesn't want to go home like he did against San Diego State and Louisville just about 2 years ago. And I think that this might be the year for Creighton if they can get through Auburn. Obviously, they have to get through Auburn. And I don't want to speak anything into existence right now. They've got to get through one of the best statistical teams on KenPom of all time. But I think Kalkbrenner is still the guy. Jemiah Neal is an incredible player, and you'll test the waters with him. But him and then also Ashworth, this Creighton team just has so many guys that you can go to, but also incredibly great egos. And the way I mean that is none of these players want to have a good game if that means they lose. Ryan Kalkbrenner would not be proud of himself if he scored 50 and his team lost. And that's what you got to love about this Creighton team. They all play for each other and not for themselves.
Once again, I do want to shout out the Pat Kelsey crash out because that was absolutely awesome to see. A story I forgot to bring up actually. I was with a bunch of my friends watching the Creighton Louisville game in the FAU dining hall. We were watching it on YouTube TV on a little phone, on somebody's phone. There was 25 people huddled around us just watching over. Like that's the effect that March Madness has of literally people who we've never met. Yo, what's the score of the game? Yeah, come watch. Like that's what's awesome about this, and that's what's awesome about being in a college community of we're as sports fans, we're all united in one common goal, watching Pat Kelsey.
Christian's just trying to cope about the fact that he didn't get to travel on the road this week. I think that's what it all is.
Listen, I went for the big fish this week. I'm not gonna lie. I went for the Raleigh regional, which we can talk about that. Having Florida, Duke, and UConn all in the same building at the same time, it was a little bit of a Hail Mary to get me. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna play it a little conservative next week. I will be at the tournament next week. I promise y'all I am going to be at the tournament. Y'all are not having all the fun. Also, like I said, I could not get excused absences this week anyway. My professor was kind of on me about that because he's like, bro, stop traveling. And I go like, bro, I should have taken online classes. So now we know for next year of take online classes because somebody's got a big step and always be on the road. Might as well be me. And Isaac.
I 100% feel you. I yesterday took 4 classes and then immediately, as soon as my 4th class ended, got on the road and drove to Kentucky.
But I say, how far is that drive for you?
It was 6 hours last night. I drove and stayed close to home, and then I did the rest of the drive this morning.
Okay, that's not bad.
It was 6 hours last night, 3 hours this morning.
So what are you doing tomorrow? Are you just sitting on the couch enjoying good games?
I'll come here for a little bit, get some pressers in. I want to talk to Ryan Miller at Creighton for a little bit more. If anyone doesn't know, Miller is the assistant coach. Ryan Miller for Creighton officially signed on to be the Murray State head coach next year. And so if Creighton does lose to Auburn on Saturday, I will literally be following him home to Murray because that's where my hometown is. And hopefully maybe I can catch a press conference or some media availability with him in the friendliest small town in America.
Wellington, Florida. Oh, no, not that. Definitely not Wellington. People here are mean.
But before we wrap this up, Christian, let's finish out with we've got a couple more games we want to talk about tomorrow. I think the big one's got to be Colorado State, Memphis.
Yes.
We talk a little bit about it. Memphis on a hot streak right now, and PJ Haggerty and Dane Danger just as good as ever. Still, Tyrese Hunter is questionable for that one. I didn't think he would play, but right now the official announcement is that he might play. It's a maybe still, and that's interesting.
I doubt it.
I doubt he plays too, but I think it brings in a whole new aspect of if he plays, what different are you going to see from Memphis if he doesn't play? Because we saw Memphis play against UAB the other day, and they did not look like they missed him at all when they absolutely dominated UAB in that final part of the second half.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like the thing with Memphis, Colorado State is everybody thinks that those seeds should be reversed. Colorado State is a team where on paper they clear Memphis. Also, Memphis has that stigma of being the Penny Hardaway-led team that they don't make the run that everybody thinks they're going to make. Pulling Colorado State in the first round is that's almost as bad as pulling Auburn, like as pulling one of those top-end seeds. Like Colorado State is the most underrated team in this tournament. And like the way that they're seeded and the fact of everybody thinks they're an underdog, like Colorado State may actually be the freest bet of all time. Like if you're
the spread actually favors Colorado State by 1.5 right now. Okay. So that's interesting if you look at it. They opened as a 1.5 favorite. And I mean, I agree with you, Christian. The only thing is Colorado State, I mean, they weren't going to be in this tournament unless they won the Mountain West, but they didn't just win the Mountain West; they dominated it. And so, I agree with you. I find it hard to bet against them right now. But
And
also,
then
Memphis is on a win streak as well. How do you bet against Memphis when they've dominated their conference as well? You've got two teams in very similar situations where they had, well, obviously, Memphis looked good early on in non-conference. Colorado did not. They were 5-5 at one point this season. But Memphis has looked solid all season. They've just picked up one or two quad 3 losses that kept them from being ranked even higher. And now they're in a position where they've played great all season, and now they have to play a team that is probably the most on fire of any of these teams in the country.
and that's the thing. Like you said, as far as like a hot team, like you talk about Memphis, you talk about Colorado State, Florida, like those are teams where these are the most hot-handed teams going into this tournament. So having a Memphis Colorado State first round game, that's basically like having Louisville Creighton today. Like that's a Sweet 16 game that's being played in the round of 64. I'm gonna roll my bracket. I do have Colorado State winning, but in my heart, I'm gonna roll with the guys in my conference. I obviously want to see any representative of the American outside of North Texas because your fan base has absolutely annoyed me over the past 2 weeks. But everybody except for North Texas, I want to see y'all win. So Memphis, go out, do your thing. I love watching PJ Haggerty play basketball. PJ Haggerty is so good at basketball. Like
See, I'm going to be
honestly,
honest with you. I don't, but I can agree he's a good player. I feel like Haggerty's a great player. Just maybe kind of a bit of the Mark Sears foul baiting you might see from him.
well, listen, that kid knows how to get to the bucket, whether it's from standing at a free throw line or if he's driving. That kid knows how to break off extra points. He is a special talent, and that ability to always score with his natural athleticism. I love watching PJ Haggerty play basketball. It's annoying to watch him play against you because you know that kid is going to pop off for 30. But watching him, that's one of those where it's like, wow, that is like I firmly believe PJ Haggerty is a top 5 college hooper I've ever watched in person. Easily top 3.
And with that, we'll move on to another one of the great guards that's playing tomorrow, Donovan Dent. We talked about New Mexico, but we'll see how they go up against Marquette and Cam Jones. Marquette favored in the ESPN betting by 3.5 tomorrow, but I like the Lobos in this one. We talked a little bit about it with Robbie earlier today. It's a weird pick, especially with the Mountain West playing so badly right now. But Nelly Jr. Joseph and Donovan Dent have not let me down this season, other than in the Mountain West tournament. But we won't talk about that. So that's one I'm looking at, and then also I like Akron, Arizona to be a good one. Arizona favored by a lot, but I just don't like the streakiness of Caleb Jones. He's not a great shooter from the field. I think just below 40% from the field. So I think that's a game that has a chance of being an upset as well.
Yeah, I definitely I've got Marquette going into this one. I've learned very early on in my college basketball career, don't bet against Marquette. Like I think Marquette is consistently a great team. Obviously, they're Sweet 16 potential every single year. As far as the Arizona game, I think that Arizona Akron, it's going to be a good game. Caleb Love needs to show out. Like you said, he's so streaky. Like Caleb Love needs to have himself a day because, especially in a year where he's trying to make a statement for draft stock, like you got to lay it all out on the line. So I think Caleb Love needs to have himself a tournament. I honestly think Arizona's going to roll through Akron. Like I don't think the Zips really have anything that can go and compete with a hot Caleb Love.
And then finally, if we're looking at upset potential tomorrow, I mean, we've got some of the high major games, we've got Oklahoma, UConn. That'll be a fun one. That would be a fun one, but I do have UConn rolling in that one. Xavier, Illinois. That'll be interesting, especially with Illinois on a bit of a slow streak right now. Grand Canyon, Maryland. Grand Canyon trying to pick up another upset like they did last year. We know where Robbie's going for, or not Robbie, Christian's going for. Sorry, I was thinking about Robbie. And then North Carolina, Ole Miss. I like UNC in this one,
About to say,
but I also like Ole Miss as well. I feel like Ole Miss is a little bit higher, is pretty highly seeded, but I can't bet against the SEC, especially when Ole Miss is. We've seen them dominate some games in the SEC this year.
and here's the thing: when I made my bracket, I made it shortly after we got off of our stream on Sunday. I had not seen Ole Miss play yet. Or I mean, I had not seen UNC play yet. I am biting my nails watching that game because if UNC plays the way that they did the other day, that is a UNC team that could roll through this tournament. I firmly believe that. That was an incredible game. Obviously, I don't think San Diego State had a lot going for them, but that UNC team looked like a really, really good UNC team. Like you said, though, I'm not going to bet against the SEC. If it's a toss-up, I'm going to give it to an SEC team. It sounds terrible. It sounds like somebody making the college football playoff committee. But yeah, I got Ole Miss in my bracket.
And then we've got a couple other ones, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Troy, but those are the ones we're really looking into tomorrow. As far as everything else, Christian, that's all I've got for tonight. I really need to go to sleep, and I think that you might want to as well. But possibly something tomorrow. We might do something. We might not. It just all depends on availability and everything like that. But for now, this has been, what do we call this? This has been the council.
It's the council. It's the March Council. Rick Pitino's the godfather of our little group, but then me, Robbie, and Isaac were the right, left, third leg hands. As far as we're the main men, y'all know who we are. But Isaac, I appreciate you for setting this up. Like you said, I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm going to have to be up at 6 a.m. and it's going to be a long day of shooting. I got 3 gigs tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a stream tomorrow. I highly doubt I'm going to even be able to enjoy college basketball tomorrow. I'm going to be in Miami basically all day. But Isaac, let's plug some socials. Obviously, we are streaming to your channel right now, but
go follow exactly where you're watching this.
New Era Prep.
Oh yeah, no, I'll do it this time. You always ask me, Christian, where can we find you on social media?
You can find the overwhelming majority of my work at New Era Prep on Instagram, at Era Prep on Twitter if you want to follow personals, cprosha.photo on Instagram, cp_photo2004 on Twitter. Hearing I might be getting verified soon, actually. Engagements have been up. Been in talks with the great people out in the Twitter world. Might be getting that blue check finally. Who knows?
Well, we'll see what happens. And with that, guys, it's been a good night and hopefully a better day tomorrow. Well, maybe it's not been a great night in Lexington, but it's been a good night of college basketball. Hopefully a better day tomorrow. And this has been Isaac Bourne and Christian Prosha. And earlier it was Robbie LaStella on the council. See y'all later.
Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill. Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half man, the other half cat. Wild as a mink, but sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee.